Yeah, looks like it's going to
Yay.
work. Preparing to live stream. Done. Redirecting. Mute that.
Says live here.
Okay. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Here we are again to solve all the world's problems. Everybody go around and introduce yourself. Terry?
Terry Van Horn, live in Toronto, Ontario, kind of retired, semi-retired. Still do keep track of the SEO and working on a few things.
Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Altair, and I write content for the web.
Stephen?
Steve Grinzer, agent of chaos and no longer a gentleman farmer for at least a couple more weeks.
I call that a double win.
That's it.
And I'm Doc Sheldon. I am an exercise in excess. Oh, so what's been going on this week with everybody? Any interesting things going on? Besides, I know you just had surgery, Steve.
Yeah. Give me a lot of time to pretend like it doesn't hurt and keep working anyway. I don't know. I saw there was a spam rollout last week.
Mhm.
Another update. I haven't seen anything in the real world about it as far as
Was it confirmed?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. it
What I
was.
saw-
Terry got a
Just because Rusty Brick says it was one, doesn't mean it is, right?
right.
Yeah. He calls every big spike,
well, a lot of times he'll say though in his write-up that he spoke with someone at Google who confirmed it.
There's a
Yeah,
time where I quit talking about it because every week he said there was an update. It's just a
No,
lot of
this
volatility in rankings. If you're still looking at it, like it's 10 years ago, yeah, you'll think there's an update every day. Go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
This actually came from Google,
Oh, okay.
from their Search Central Twitter account.
Then
saying that
that's
The spam
confirmed.
update has finished the rollout, and it's the rollout is complete as of the 21st.
Right. Here's what I've seen the last couple. The helpful content, nobody said much about it because it was the next one that followed that actually did the work. These are collecting metrics right now. And it looks like when they do that, it looks like a refresh. So everybody's going to see that spike. And yeah, I think you'll see the real damage in a couple of weeks.
Mhm.
If it's what I think is going on, yeah. Because what you'll see is this, then you'll see another update, which is the actual stuff happening, and then you'll get another update that's just on reviews.
Well, it just makes sense. I know when we were going to roll out, we were looking at rolling out a change, let's say across the pneumatic control system for an entire manufacturing plant. We would take 1 or 3 machines and put them on the new system and test it. And once we thought we'd found any bugs and fixed them, then we roll it out across the rest. That's standard engineering practice. I mean, you don't go commit yourself to everything without knowing that you've tested live test. And it would seem to make sense, especially with something as volatile as Google, that's the approach that they would take. Do a small segment test and make sure you like it, and then roll it out. So yeah, like you say, it's kind of like the old refresh. You're going to see perhaps some results initially, But then you're going to see some widespread stuff down the
Right.
road a week or two.
I think they're collecting metrics, and some sites get those metrics applied right away. Sites
others
that they
don't,
know are, problematic, so they see it right away. Then everyone else gets it when they do the final thing. Because if you're already in those algorithms, every time they do an update, you go a little bit further down. And if you start looking at a lot of cleanups, you'll see, well, they're complaining now because they finally got hammered hard. But you'll see going back,
It's been gradual.
some
Yeah.
cases, years, they've been slowly hit with each one of these quality updates. And they never quite hit the bar of fixing the issues.
Well, it's made worse by the fact that there are still so many practitioners who seem to think that there is an algorithm
Well,
as opposed
there's
to
All right.
hundreds, probably several hundred, perhaps more. Well, I was looking last night. I couldn't see anything, a lot of chatter about anything really interesting this last week. Topic wise, we're a bit sparse today.
I mean, yeah, that's normal.
I have a question because something came up out at work, and they're designing the web page on which the blog post that I wrote will exist. And they decided they wanted to try 2 call to action buttons at the bottom of the page.
Mhm.
And like one says, do this activity, and the other one says, do this activity. What's your feeling about 2 call to action buttons side by side?
Well, there's going to be times, I think, when it's appropriate. If you're presenting in the write-up, if you're presenting 2 possible approaches, for instance.
Yeah, but she's saying they're putting them on at the same time, one side by each.
Yeah, they're side by side.
That's stupid. Sorry.
No, it's not.
Why?
It's the same as your own choose adventure. I can think of 1,000 reasons why you would have content that forks
Sure.
based on your user intent. Are you looking to use, be a client of that company, or are you looking to hire that company?
Right, exactly.
So you have 2 completely different user intents, but
Why
the
would you put
content
them
leading up to
beside
it,
each other?
Why not?
if the content leading up to that question is, do you want to go left or do you want to go right? It makes sense to have those two calls to action next to each other.
I mean, you see it all the time. You'll see it in the same sentence, if it's rather than buttons, they're using text links. They'll say, email us at or phone us at. That's 2 CTAs right there. And I don't see anything wrong with that if it's appropriate to the decision tree for the user.
For the user. Okay.
I don't think there's any necessarily any negative.
I test it.
I would test it too, but that's not part of my responsibility.
I don't think it's inherently a bad practice at all. I think there are instances where it could be okay. There are also instances where it would be inappropriate. Like so much, it depends.
There's one thing that, I always say the average user on the net has the attention span of a gnat. So you got to take that into account too. How much attention is being paid? And don't give them too many decisions. That's another thing,
Well,
Yeah, I think anytime you ask for a decision, you're asking for a not an action.
Well, no, okay, go back.
Especially when you give them 2 to pick from.
Mm.
Some people would get confused.
And we've all seen instances where somebody will provide maybe it's a drop down in accordion where they have 8 things to choose from. That now you're getting nuts, because you also got to think about, go back to your original question, Sarah. At this point now, never mind the confusing the user and losing their attention,
Mm,
you're also confusing the algorithms.
yes.
Because they're trying to determine what is this page, this body of content about, what's the main context. And if those choices are so disparate as to cloud that issue, then you've done yourself no favor with the search engine. It may still make sense to a user, but you can certainly confuse a search engine, because if the average user has the attention span of a gnat, there are times when I'm not overly impressed with the intelligence of this artificial intelligence, genuine stupidity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying it was stupid was a little harsh. I thought you were talking about 2 buttons that were basically for the same thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be stupid.
Yeah, one's redundant.
Yeah.
I wasn't listening carefully enough to your question, I guess. My bad. And Steve's good.
Oh, now
Did that make your knee feel better, Steve?
But
Oh,
my heart
anytime he
went
makes
all
me
flutter.
bad, he's happy.
My heart went all aflutter. Yeah. No, whatever. Moving on.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about a lot of keyword research lately, and Ahrefs happened to write a blog post not too long ago about targeting 0 volume keywords, and my brain immediately went to, wasn't that what we used to call long tail keywords?
Mm,
Yeah.
They never really have much volume. They tend to, be really easy to rank for. But since there's little volume,
Low competition.
They
yeah,
put up
but you're also not going to get a whole lot of traffic from it.
sometimes when you're getting into a niche where you're new, those are the keywords you're stuck with until you can build the reputation, etc., to get the other ones. So especially when you're taking them on as a client, you got to be sending someone their way, or they're not going to be clients very long, in my experience.
Well, and I mean, the other part of this is this didn't used to be an issue when analytics gave you the keyword data.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you could say, look, these are the keywords we're already ranking, getting traffic for. What else can we look at? And I mean, part of this, they claim that it was a privacy issue, but I have always believed that Google took that away from SEOs specifically to take some of the teeth out of SEOs.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't just say, now it's like, it just says not provided. And so that when Google did that, everybody should have immediately switched to stopping keyword ranking reports, because you can't
There's
tell.
no way in the world to report it.
There's no way to know. It's like, well, yeah, I ranked #1 for this phrase, but somebody down the road's going to search for it, and I'm going to be nowhere in the top 20 because of a whole lot of other factors, location being one of them, personalized search being the other, and all of that. So, going after these quote 0 volume terms, plus I also don't trust the fact that they're actually 0. I believe that they're below their measurable threshold. They're not going to say, well, we only had 6 searches for this term last month. That doesn't do Google any good whatsoever.
Nope.
They may have a long time ago, Steve.
Right.
I remember seeing numbers like 10 and stuff.
Yeah.
Do they
Right.
still say 10?
A few
Do they
years.
give 10 now?
I don't know. I haven't really looked at Google's data that they actually
Okay.
provide. I suppose I should. My method of keyword research is slightly different than most people's. What I look at is sites like SpyFu and do my keyword research based on who's running ads against certain terms.
Right.
You know,
When
'Cause
people are
that's-
paying for those terms.
these are the terms people are paying to rank for.
Yeah.
Are they worth ranking for? You know, that lets you get a dollar value assigned to them. But as far as the volume goes,
Also, misspellings. Once I started doing PPC and saw all the traffic you get from misspellings,
yeah,
I started putting misspellings in the title.
not
That's
anymore.
not shown.
Not anymore. All
Why?
the close match variant stuff has wiped all that out.
Oh, it does. Oh, really?
Yeah.
They don't give you that data
No.
anymore?
Well,
That's
and
why I think that's why PPC is a joke.
the problem is they will tell you what people searched for, what they clicked on in your search terms, and you see all kinds of wild stuff. But you can't, I mean, I suppose you could make that a keyword that you target, but there's no point in doing that because Google will automatically spell correct
Right.
and give you the click anyway, whether you spelled it right or wrong. My issue has become one of their automated AI will tell you you have redundant keywords when the words could be plural versus singular, or a word like website where it's 2 words or 1 word, because
Right.
you can see it both ways. And Google will say, oh, well, these are redundant keywords. You should remove one of them. But I also know that the cost per click on those keywords can be wildly different.
Yeah.
I have seen a single word versus a 2-word word where it could be a factor of 10 difference in the cost, where we paid $2 for a click one way and $20 for a click the other way. Well, screw that. I don't want the other one. I want this one.
Yeah. And generally, they would still rank it with the other ads. They don't
Yes.
treat it as differently.
Correct. And the clients convert just as well. I mean,
Yeah.
but when their automated tools are telling you things like that, you have to wonder, one, do the people who are actually creating these tools and feeding the AI actually run ads?
Yeah. Steve, what about using lawyer and attorney? Does it say one?
That's
is
another one that's
redundant?
weird. That one is so weird. I love that one because you can see a huge difference in cost
Right.
between lawyer and attorney.
But they treat them the same, correct?
But they can be treated the same.
Right.
It's just, yeah. So that's one of those really good spots for using dynamic keyword insertion in your ads, so that if somebody searches for an attorney, you insert attorney into the ad. If they search for lawyer, you insert lawyer into the ad.
Right.
That way it more closely matches what they actually searched for. The problem is that's even becoming a pain in the ass to do, because they're moving more and more towards black box. Give us your money and we'll send you traffic.
In my opinion, they've made it harder and harder to target keywords. It's basically, we want all your money and we really don't care if we're giving
Well,
you
I
the
think
best.
that's been one of their major goals in a lot of the changes they've made over the last 5 or 6 years. Just like I think it was about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, Steve, when they did away with exact match. They
Yep.
just forced everything to broad.
Everything exact match is a close match variant of phrase. Phrase is almost broad, and they're pushing everybody to use broad match because you could be missing out on potential customers. No,
We could be missing out on your money.
Missing out on a bunch of bullshit.
you're missing out on doubling my cost of ads for no good reason, because I know what happens with broad match. That is a cesspool, and
Oh,
unless
God.
you've got a lot of money to play with,
Yeah.
it's not worth being there.
When I did PPC, I almost did all exact match. That's good. And I did a lot of insertion as well.
Well, and that used to be an old technique where you would do phrase match general campaigns. And then as you developed phrases that worked really well, you turn those into exact match and put them in their own campaign.
Right.
And you use the phrase based as your learning tool. Well, now the quote unquote, the AI learns all that on its own,
Oh, yeah.
and you don't need to do that anymore. And yeah, no, I still do it a lot more than I would like to. I would, like the ads to actually do what I tell them to do.
Those days are
So
gone.
I guess the management time on PPC must be like double what it was.
Oh,
I did it in early 2000s.
the biggest issue for me again is managing the AI, because you're constantly fighting it. There are options, and I will say there are certain types of ads, and there are certain niches where the AI is wonderful, and it does an amazing job, and it makes the job easier for most people to run ads. But when I can go in and scrap a year-old campaign and create a new one from scratch and have it outperform the AI-enabled one instantly, there's something wrong with the AI. I shouldn't be able to even come close. It should have all the data in the world and always beat me. And it never does. I mean, what are you going to do?
It's only really good for matching ads to keywords.
It's great for shopping. It is amazing for shopping and picking people who are actually looking to buy versus just looking for research. I've been really surprised at how well that works. And it's good for some other things, but in general, I'm just not a fan, and I spend more time fighting against it than I do leveraging it.
Mhm. That makes sense.
Well, and all in all, I think we've seen a dramatic erosion of the information, usable information that Google had used to provide us. So, it started back with not provided, but it's just been a constant trip in the same direction. Everything is obfuscating, everything is either being diluted or flat out taken away. And
the guidelines are a lot more transparent than they were in the past.
well, the guidelines, but which I forget what it is now. They've renamed the webmaster guidelines to some
Googling names, I'm sure there's a guy, his job is to change the name on everything
Change the names,
at least
yeah.
once a year.
weekly at least, yeah.
And Facebook's got a guy who his job is only to change the back end of Facebook every week. So it's impossible to find anything. Anytime I want to use it, I have to go to Google and search for how you find that.
I have had to do that more than once in the last week.
Oh,
I was
Jesus.
looking the other day, looking for my activity log on Facebook, which they have changed twice in the last 2 or 3 months. And it's a battle. I actually had to go to YouTube, find a video to show me that was dated in 2022 to show me how the hell to find my activity log. And
Yeah.
even then, going back to Facebook, it was an uphill battle.
Because what you saw there didn't look like what was on the screen.
Because that August 2022 YouTube has already been outdated by another change.
Right.
For sure. Oh yeah, every time I only have one client that I do. I go in once a month, I schedule everything for a month. And every time I go there, I have to find the publishing tools. Because they don't even call them publishing tools
Nope.
anymore.
Change the name, change the location, change the color, and make it black on black.
I don't know how. Do you still do a lot of Facebook ads, Steve?
Yeah, off and on. I think it's a side effect of having tens of thousands of programmers needing to keep busy.
Yeah.
Let's roll out this new layout because I think it's easier. Well, of course you think it's easier. You built it. So yeah, but that's the same with everything. I mean, Google Ads and even in on a lot of the other tools that are out there, they make these modifications based on internal feedback. And all the stuff that you used to do is still there. It's either buried under 7 menus or it's had its name changed. And Google loves changing the names of things. They must have a whole division. That's all they do.
Google changes names. Facebook just changes where things are and
Yeah,
sometimes what they're called.
and what they're called, yeah.
Yeah. And for me, the latest thing with having multiple personalities on Facebook just drives me nuts.
Oh, yeah.
You have to switch identities to actually do something.
Well, and that's a side effect of them allowing people to have more than one presence. You know, I don't know how many clients have added me to their Facebook and all of a sudden I'm getting DMs. It's like, no, where's the option to just turn this off? I don't want DMs for this client. I don't need them. I don't need to see them. And I almost always accidentally hit it on my phone. And now I'm in a completely different profile and I don't know. Just stop.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't even find yourself, how are other people going to find you? You know what I mean? Grumpy opinion.
But not in.
Stay off my lawn.
Yeah. Oh, my. You guys hear the soothing sound of the 2-stroke engine, or is it filtered out?
Filtered out.
I don't hear it.
Yay. Okay.
So, moving in a totally different direction. Anybody think that Elon is going to end up buying Twitter?
Gonna have to.
Well, not necessarily.
You
They
can't
could-
get out of a deal just because you're stupid.
Well,
Or don't
Kanye got out of
something
Adidas real easy for being stupid by being stupid. I don't know if he wanted to, but that's what happened.
Judges have pretty well already told him you're gonna lose, and he agreed to pay, so. I think he knew he owned it a long time ago and.
Yeah.
Just screwed around.
I think he's just trying to find a way to use other people's money rather than his own.
Well, he is using a lot of other people's.
Well, a lot of other people have backed off and told him to get bent.
Anybody who thinks people will pay a subscription to Twitter is just not in touch with reality.
I won't use it and it's free.
That's
Same.
what I mean.
It's a broken platform.
They would
Yeah,
have to pay me a substantial amount to make me want to use it.
Yeah.
It really is trying to take a drink out of a fire hose.
yeah, who knows? I was again a little quick to say stupid, but I don't think it was a well thought out purchase. If you would be a better way to put it.
Yeah.
Because Twitter hasn't been worth $50 a share for what a long time, Steve.
Time.
A decade or so.
I don't know about that long, but Steve's owned it in the past, I believe.
Oh, yeah. And as soon as I doubled my money, I got out. Never looked back.
Yeah.
Gone. No, it's if anything, it'll make a great write-off for him.
Well, that's probably what it's likely to be, because I think it's going to be a mass exodus of people that just hate him because he's rich.
I think it's going to be like all the people who claim they're going to move to Canada. Nobody's going to leave Twitter over who owns it. They may
Yeah.
take a couple of
Well,
weeks off, but they'll be back. They'll miss
Maybe
it.
not. Maybe not
Right.
just because he owns it, but because of the things he's likely to do once he owns it. That's a different story.
Well, if he starts
I don't-
letting people on with all the free speech that he wants, some people are just going to get tired. I mean, like when Trump was around, I started unfollowing people who were going on and on.
And that's,
on
and
about
that's
it.
how
I,
you
you know-
solve that problem. If you don't want to hear it, you unfollow those people. It's
Right.
Right.
not that hard. I mean, I don't see any political crap on Twitter when I'm on Twitter.
Right.
I never see it because I don't follow people who do that. I
Yeah.
follow a handful of sports and racing people, and I have a few news people and people in the industry, and that's it. You know, it's not something that I would, you know, the idea of having 100,000 Twitter followers is just ridiculous. But I get it. I can see why people think they need to.
Oh, if you want to be an influencer, it helps
Yeah, but
and get
it's
paid.
hard to
for
make
it.
money on Twitter.
Yeah. Even Twitter has hard time making money on
Exactly.
Twitter.
Well, I think that was a good question, Doc, because there's a lot of SEO practitioners who are on Twitter. I mean, it's a lively place for that.
There's a lot of people that's their sole
Yeah.
source of information,
Mm-hmm.
which
That's kind of scary right there.
I don't know about how good that is. I think you can find some good people to follow, and if they
Oh, sure.
learn, but I don't know. I've seen lots of bullshit on Twitter. Like today, a guy who the first thing I asked him is, "Are you a content marketer?" Because he said, "All you need is good content." Well, no, sorry. It's not that easy. You know, like even if you have that content good and ranking, if you don't have CTAs and the proper stuff to get people to buy, yeah, you have good posts, but it's useless.
It's I never was a fan of the whole write good content and you will naturally get links.
You won't.
Those days passed
I
a
don't
long time.
I don't even understand where that came from, except maybe as a response to all those spun content things. You know,
I think it was even that. I think it was when they started cracking down on things like link directories and stuff
Yeah.
like that. They were like, well, if you just write good content, people will link to it anyway. But then they stopped linking to it because Google started penalizing people for who they linked to.
yeah.
And it's like, well, no, getting a link and links have always had a monetary value because Google used them in their algorithm.
Even before Google.
Yeah.
It was the
And
only
so-
way to monetize the site before.
And so when people generally don't give away things for free, they have monetary value. It's really hard to get somebody to do that.
Well, back in the days of web rings, there were
Mhm.
people paying to get their link onto your site
Yeah, that's true.
and
But the
MySpace.
thing is, even if you write good content, it doesn't naturally get links. If you
No.
don't, I wrote a good piece that ranks really well, but it's got 0 links because I never went out and broadcast. I didn't even I mentioned once on Twitter that I wrote an article on, semantic SEO audits. Well, doesn't have any links that I know of, but it still ranks.
That's one of those zero volume search terms again.
Not 0, but yeah.
It's probably pretty close.
I think it gets a bit more than that. But the thing is that I was looking for people looking to do semantic SEO. So it was, it was part of my marketing base. So again, that's why, the 0 keywords thing is, if it's got a use, it doesn't matter how many queries are for it. Because once people get on your site from the other stuff, it's useful to them. And that's why a lot of content gets left out of websites that should be there. It's part of the process but it doesn't have keywords, so SEOs and the content developers don't include it. Because they haven't really looked at the buying process and the questions therein. Which is why you've got good SEO wants to talk to the customer service department of any new client. Not the owner, because he doesn't really know.
He doesn't know, yeah.
Especially if they have no customer service, yeah, he would know. But if they have customer service, he isn't really hearing the issues that they're hearing on a daily basis sometimes.
Okay, now serving 23, number 23. Nada, huh? Well,
So if you're
Oh.
ranking. Let's go back to 1A as it were. If you're ranking and there's no clicks, what does that do for you? And if your keywords are ranking, you're using ranking keywords.
but you're getting no clicks through from the SERP.
Hmm,
Well, it's not going to do a damn thing for your bottom line, obviously. You're not going to get any conversions if you can't get them to your site.
right,
I would call that an odd situation these days. It used to happen a lot, but I think these days the algorithms are not going to, aside from the initial blast when a new page goes up, you're not
Yeah.
likely to rank beyond that initial burst if you're not getting any click through.
if you're not getting click-throughs, yeah, right.
Is not a
exactly.
ranking factor, but it is indicative of traffic. And why would you have a page ranking well for, assuming a relevant search term that's getting no clicks? I mean, how would you even do that by design? You'd have to be ranking for something that's not at all relevant, I would think.
Right,
And then in that case, then Google would be dropping the ball too, because somehow or other, assuming that somebody put in a search term into the SERP that was relevant to them, seeing a page that doesn't seem to demonstrate any relevance to what they were looking for, no wonder you're not getting that click. But that means the algo's not doing its job very well. I just don't see that as the sort of thing that would happen, except perhaps for a new page just going up just by freshness alone before it's gotten indexed and analyzed, which is, anywhere from a few hours to a few days. Is this what is called a pregnant silence?
mhm.
Mm-hmm. I blame Terry because he didn't put a list for us to talk about.
Yeah, that works for me.
Huh?
Yeah, see, those lists you used to build, topic lists, were good.
Oh, yeah, they were good.
More
He's
often
retired now.
you'd have 10 listed and we'd only get around to 4 or 5 of them, but we didn't have a lot of pregnant silences.
Yeah, I was also putting that news up on a website too. So it was using my time in a good way. I quit doing it because that website's mothballed for a bit.
Oh.
Well, I
So-
get around to fixing it. Otherwise the cobbler's shoes are got no soles on them.
There you go.
I have not watched it yet, but Shelley Walsh has a interview up on YouTube with John Mueller.
Is it up there already?
Yeah,
I heard it was
Yeah.
coming. Oh, cool. Drop a link in the
Yeah.
chat.
That's another thing. The way YouTube is now, I tried to find her channel for all of those because there was another one I wanted to read by the guy before Mueller that she interviewed. Dave Naylor. And I couldn't find that video to save my life. And you couldn't find her channel anymore.
Really?
Yeah. There's nowhere on a thing now, Steve, where you can click to a channel, even if you subscribe. And that's
Well, if you subscribe, I just go down to my. If you're a subscriber, I just go to my subscriptions tab.
Yeah, but you used to be able to see, there was a link that would take you to the channel on every video. That seems to have.
It's still there.
Oh, where is it now?
You just have to click on the name.
On the.
on the name.
Oh.
Somebody decided that was better.
Yeah, it's been that way for a good while.
It must be.
You know, it comes. I mean, if you do a like a search for Shelley Walsh channel, you'll get all the Shelley Walsh. Really?
I did that, and all it showed was 3 of the videos that she's done. Didn't even show them all.
I just did it, and it showed me everybody named
They
Shelley
don't
Walsh
have-
who has a channel.
When I do a
Of
search
course,
like
hers is
that,
last.
it shows me like 3 videos, but then it has the channel with the name up at the top.
I'll
Yeah,
have to look
her
at that.
So
channel
maybe
is,
they're playing around
Shelley
with
Walsh,
search
parentheses,
results.
SEO
Well,
content.
I'm just saying the interface to YouTube is a joke. You know, it's become very complicated.
We're just getting older, Terry.
I don't
No, I was doing a YouTube search the other day, and what I thought was a straightforward thing just brought me a whole bunch of stuff, but not the thing I was looking for.
No, I don't find that problem. It's more about finding stuff the way I used to. I guess that's it. I don't update that kind of stuff. I tend to think that stuff will remain the same pretty well all the way. I mean, it's worked for lots of other good sites.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. Look at Reddit. I mean, they just keep getting bigger and bigger, and it's probably one of the 2 ugliest sites on the web, on the internet.
It's pretty ugly.
Probably a close second to what's the one, the classified one. The first classified site. Oh, I forget. Name's not coming to me. But it's definitely one of the ugliest sites ever. Hasn't changed in the 20 years it's been up. And it's huge.
I like old ugly sites.
Yeah, I got
Pardon
those.
me?
I like them.
Oh,
I
I
like
got
the-
a few.
I specialize in ugly sites.
I find Reddit hard to move around in if I'm looking for something.
Yes, some earnings reports come out today. Google didn't do very good, neither did Microsoft.
Right.
I wouldn't expect anybody's earning reports to be stellar right now.
Yeah.
Some of them are kind of
Unless they're selling
not
medical.
doing too bad. But tech's getting hit the hardest, which is probably because most of it is B2B and they're all tightening their belts looking for the upcoming recession that may not come.
Oh, I got a feeling it's gonna come.
Oh, yeah. But it doesn't look like that now.
The Fed's gonna jump our interest rate another 1/2 to 3/4 of a point here any day, so that's gonna help a whole hell of a lot
Mm,
Well,
for
you
somebody.
usually associate mass unemployment with a recession, and that's definitely not the case right now. But then too, we don't really know how many of those numbers are just people that have just withdrawn from the market, from the labor market.
Well, and plus some of them are they're ghost workers because a lot of companies at the same time that they were forced to go remote with much or all of their staff, they decided, well, if we're going to do that, we're going to go independent contractor versus employees and cut our costs even further. And now there's no real visibility on who's really employed.
Yeah.
well, I think that there's another factor too, and that's like smaller tech companies are laying off people, but there's not big numbers, so it's not newsworthy.
Doesn't show up. Yeah.
You know, like my son works at a smaller company, and a week and a half ago, they laid off 28% of their people on one day.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of that happening, but it's not it's not like Google or Microsoft. It's
Well, yeah,
all
Boeing
these
laid off
little guys
28%
that are
a year
hurting and
ago.
anticipating hurting more.
What's laughable is how they say normal interest rates, normalization of
Those
interest
are
rates.
right.
Yeah, when they hit 10% for the lowest rate, then it's normalized. Anybody who thought 0 interest rates or 2% interest rates were born after 1990 for sure.
Yep.
I just laugh when I hear that. Oh, these are abnormal interest rates. 4%? My God. They should have been. When I was in the real estate business, the mortgage rates were 22%. Try
Exactly.
and sell
I
a
was gonna say,
house then.
Yeah.
I seem to recall our first mortgage being in the, I think, 12% range.
I was at 18.5 on our first one.
This is Canada. Interest rates are always higher here. And we also at around the same time they did when we were in a similar situation with the prices and the inflation and everything, they actually did put a cap on prices and wage and price controls. So you couldn't give wage increases above a certain amount and couldn't raise prices above a certain amount. Didn't work very well,
No, it didn't.
but that's governments for you, eh? Man, you know. The only companies that are really doing big layoffs are tech companies or got the outdoor wide open right now.
Yeah, they do.
Everybody talk at once now.
Yeah. Even I ran out of stuff to talk about. That's
We
It's
can
one of
talk
those
politics.
moments when you miss Ammon.
Oh, yes, Miss Hammond. Well, totally departure from SEO topics. Yesterday, I somehow or other stumbled onto an ad on a, oh, what's the, damn it, I just went blank on the name of the block toys, Steve?
Lego?
Lego, thank you.
Yeah.
On the Lego website, they have a whole series of models made up after Star Trek. And the Speed Land Cruiser that
Oh.
shows up in the first episode.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah. Thing is like 20, I think 24 or 27 inches long. I mean, it's a good sized little model, but it was like $650. I thought that was high. And I started sweeping left. Look at the next one. One of them was $16.99.
Wow.
There's no decimal in there yet.
that's the licensing for Star Trek, for Star
Yeah.
Wars.
$1,700 for a friggin' model toy. I'm sorry.
So those are Legos for adults, not for
Oh
children.
yeah, they're like 18 plus. I mean, hell, how many 18-year-olds have the patience for this kind of crap?
I just purchased a.
I was gonna say Steve probably just bought one yesterday.
I just bought a Lego village for my granddaughter. It was $150.
Oh, that stuff's not cheap, eh, Steve?
No.
No, Lego is pricey. I mean, for what it is, you're not paying for the plastic, that's for sure.
No.
You're paying for the design and development
Yeah.
and all of that goes into it.
So they actually give you instructions to build
Oh
it.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
detailed.
Well, that
Yeah.
would be worth some dough.
Yeah.
No, you got a full instruction manual and all the different
Stacks of
phases.
instruction books.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
This is
it's
just
not
a-
like the old days where was that the one that came in a can?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The original Lego
Oh.
block.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for Terry's benefit. The instruction manuals now come in and they show you how to put the pieces together. These are wonderful because they let little children who can't read yet
Figure it out.
start with Lego.
Oh, that's why you said it was for me. Oh, thanks.
And it's great because it helps them identify shapes and patterns and colors and if you don't build it the way it is in the manual, that's fine too.
Yeah, but that'd be a good way for kids to learn stuff while they're playing.
Yep.
Mhm.
And educational toys have they have a premium price usually.
Oh yeah.
yeah, they have a premium price.
Then you have Star Wars licensing on top of that.
Well, that's why when I saw this thing yesterday, of course, Steve's the first person I thought of because I said, I bet this wouldn't surprise him, but a 4-figure
no.
price tag on a model surprised me.
No, there are some pretty salty toys out there. I go to some of the specialty toy shops just to remind myself of how much money I could be spending.
Make you feel better about yourself, huh?
Your frugal lifestyle, right?
Honey, I saved $4,000 this morning.
Because, these Iron Giant toys don't just show up on their own.
No.
Are those models too that you put together, Steve?
One of them's Lego and one of them's a statue. Actually, the one is a knockoff of Lego out of Russia. I bought it before all the drama with Russia, so don't get mad at me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those, licensing is expensive, and Lego won't do anything without a proper license in place and guaranteed sell-through. But there's an awful lot of things people want that will never be licensed. So there are other companies willing to do that.
Yeah.
And they don't worry about paying for the license.
Well, it's countries like China who have historically been dead set against the idea of intellectual property.
All right.
Right.
No such critter, as far as they're concerned, ideas belong to everybody. So they don't see anything wrong
Mhm.
with knockoffs,
Nope.
which, given their philosophy on it, I can understand them not wanting to let other countries dictate what they can do, but it does kind of fly in the face of artistic license. And speaking of off the wall toys, my Facebook stream is getting flooded with ads on all of these mock weapons that fire these little gel pellets. Most of these weapons are made to look very realistic. Does anybody remember this? I think it was a 10-year-old boy that got killed with a toy gun in his hand by the cops a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, these guys are walking around now with AK-47s that actually have sound effects that make them sound like they're firing rounds,
Oh gosh.
and they look real. It's just, who thought that this was a good idea?
So how do they come in your Facebook feed? Because I haven't had any of those on my Facebook feed.
Well, you just,
Yeah, I'd be surprised to see them getting through too, with the way Facebook is about policing weapons, even toy weapons.
oh, I'm getting hammered with them in my, maybe they're coming in on Reels through YouTube. I don't know. I don't recall.
Next time you get one,
Reels and-
next time you get one, screenshot it for me.
Okay.
I'd be real interested in seeing that.
I mean, they've even got tripod mounted heavy machine guns that fire like a 1/4-inch gel bullet. Okay.
Like airsoft?
Airsoft type. Yeah.
Hmm.
But some of them are very realistic looking
Oh yeah,
and
very, very realistic.
enough to get somebody shot in Detroit. I can guarantee you.
I mean, the obvious solution for people who are, up to shenanigans is to paint your gun orange.
Mhm.
I thought there was a law that those toys that look like weapons had to be orange, but that's not the
Yeah.
case.
They're
No.
supposed to have an orange muzzle, I believe, aren't they?
Right. But there's nothing to stop you from putting an orange muzzle on a real weapon.
Yeah.
Well, that's true
I-
too.
My daughter just bought a pink pistol. It's
A
pink,
real pistol.
a real pistol. It's pink.
Gee.
Hey, I mean, I don't know. I would be unwilling to judge the realness of a weapon just by the color.
Yeah, I would too.
And I would be embarrassed to pull that thing out in the dark alley if somebody was trying to hold me up.
What, the pink pistol?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I suppose that's better than a red rocket. And with that, we just got in trouble.
Good thing we're at the end of the hour. Taking out on a high note. Thanks, everybody.